We have a new hero, but what is her role? Do you use her when you're going, hey, I have a brawl team, a dive team, a poke team? Like, from an archetype standpoint, what is she doing? And is she played with another main support like Brig? Does that make her a flex support, or is main support and flex support gone? Well, that is what we are here to talk about today. So let's take a quick look at her, and we're going to just go ahead and divide up her abilities. This is definitely a brawl ability, and I'd say this is her most critical ability. This immortality seems to be about 3/4 of a second. Kunai, that's a poke ability. I'm a little hesitant to call it that, but it's her primary fire. We know that at least right now it seems to do 40 damage regular, and to have a 3 times multiplier, so 120 damage if you hit that headshot, which means you'd get 2 headshots to kill a squishy, or a headshot and 2 body shots, or way too many body shots to get through there. We've got Swift Step, which is the definition of a dive ability. It is swift movement. It quickly gets you through a teammate. The healing ability, I'm going to go ahead and call a dive ability as well, because it delivers its healing over time. And when things deliver their healing over time like that, think Harmony Orb, think Briggs Repair Packs, those tend to best enable duelist heroes, which are dive heroes. Makes sense to me. Her ultimate is definitely a brawl ability, no question there. And we'll go ahead and call Wall Climb a poke ability. It's mobility, but it's not quick mobility like Swift Step is. It's more to take positions for better angles, for better poke. So did this help? No, because we are 2, 2, and 2. And we mean that for our division of the abilities here. So how is she actually going to be used then if this is what we have? Well, I see this, and clearly her strongest phase, or what she supports the best, is going to be the brawl phase. Now, she won't always have her ultimate, but the ability that has the most oomph is going to be that group, that team invulnerability. It's an AoE invulnerability that she can throw down there. And how I would expect we're going to see her played, since she has the most value during the brawl phase, is I don't really want her standing in the brawl with her headband, cat ears, whatever there. That's not going to work too well, because then she can't use Swift Step unless someone else is positioned out of the brawl for her to teleport to. And Swift Step doesn't really help her get into the fight. Again, if her team is fully a brawl team, like it's not a dive if it's a brawl team. She's going to have Lucio speed or something else, or she's going to run at the same speed as the rest of the team. That Swift Step isn't really helping. So what are we actually looking at here? Well, I think what we're looking at in terms of what we're going to get our value out of is she's going to want to play outside. So she might have a brawl of 3 or 4 people from her team going on. Maybe that's a brawl team that walked into it. Maybe it's a dive team forcing the brawl. Could be people walking on her team, a poke team that then has their brawl forced. But I think she's going to be played better in brawl or dive setups. And she'll play outside that. And the first time she gets pressured by the enemy, she's going to go ahead and Swift Step either into the brawl or to another friend that's on an angle, but probably into the brawl. And the second time she gets pressured, she's got that team invulnerability that she can throw down. So, yeah, you could force out her invulnerability by pressuring her twice, but I think that's probably what we are looking at for how you would like to play her going into fight. She's outside the fight, has an angle to try to get some of those headshots, try to get some of those 120 damage shots there, and gets to hold on to her protection ability there. But that brings us to the question of, do you need to pair her with a main support or a flex support? What do you do? Well, I have a sort of way that I want to get to this. Something that's happened throughout the history of Overwatch is there's sort of roles that different positions have. If you think of the 6 members in Overwatch 1, the off tank was kind of a perma diva, and the main support was generally a pretty heavy peel hero as well. These were both heroes that they slowed down the enemy just winning the fights in a lot of ways. That might be Lucio keeping his flex support far away from an enemy brawl team so they can't rotate on him. That might be a Mercy rezzing someone to keep the fight going on. Obviously, Brig slowing down a dive, breaking up the burst so that that doesn't work. And of course, D.Va with her defense matrix, with her contesting angles. Sigma doing very similar things with the experimental bear. These roles in Overwatch, from a team perspective, have traditionally slowed down the fights, made the opponents find more win conditions, and not cause the fights to just go 1-2 over. But we aren't really in a place where we have this locked in off tank anymore because we're in a 1-2-2 setup. And what does that mean? Well, it means that instead of needing the raw throughput that a flex support has traditionally brought, the damage and Discord of Zen, the damage of Bap, the nades of Ana, instead of needing that throughput to really finish off a fight, especially with dive type characters where they really needed to get enough of their damage lined up for the burst that would win the fight, you just don't have enough damage with Genji, Tracer, Winston to finish someone off through Peel without a Discord in play or some extra damage pressure from a heavier support. But if you don't have that heavy peel from a D.Va, from a Sigma going on, the burst actually is enough, for the pressure damage, the sustained damage actually potentially is enough. So I think we're likely to see more things like we saw before of Lucio plus Brig double main support. I think it's going to be perfectly fine even if Kiriko doesn't have extremely high damage, which she won't. Her kunai have a small hitbox from what we're seeing. I've told what the numbers were here, and if you're not hitting those headshots, it's not much. It's not an amazing rate of fire from what we're looking at either here, so that's not incredibly high damage. It's not really increasing the team's damage, so in an Overwatch 2 world, or in an Overwatch 1 world, she might almost need to be paired with a Zen or an Ana. But in an Overwatch 2 world, I think that's okay. And her utility, her really powerful piece of her kit being protection, is probably just fine without her officially being a main support. I think those labels are mostly dead. I think you're going to find she plays just fine with a Moira, a Lucio, a Brig, all of those would be just fine for her. Again, she's going to probably look for strong brawl phases, whether she's in that brawl or not. More likely she's not, but she's looking for a team that has strong brawl phases, so supports that support brawl well are going to work pretty well as partners for her. But let me know what you guys think. If you totally agree with this assessment, great. If you think, no, that's totally wrong, she's going to get played with Ana and Zen all the time, something like that, you know what? I'd be interested in hearing that as well. But I hope you guys have enjoyed, and I will see you in the next one. Thanks. Temporal out.